Hello, this is Sportmentary with my sidekick from Winnipeg, the Comish. How you doing today?
Thank God it's Saturday. College football starts.
Woo! Well, yeah. Well, that leads us into our topic for the week. Should college athletes be paid? Well, I'll let you I'll kind of let you lead off on this one because I think you're really passionate about this subject.
As you know, I'm a huge college football fan.
Huge.
In fact, I can't even tell you who won the national championship, but I can tell you that whatever school
Alabama.
right, and they probably made hundreds of millions of dollars winning that title. And what did the students get?
Is that a question for me to answer now?
It's kind of a rhetorical question because we know they get nothing. Well, unless it's under the table.
I'll tell you why they get nothing. They get nothing because they're so damn stupid they can't even get the education that's fallen on their lap for free.
How can you say they're stupid just because they're in school, focused on making schools millions and hundreds of millions of dollars?
Okay, let's step back a moment here. When they're out of high school and they're looking to get to college, they're not thinking of making money for the college teams. They're looking to advance their career. And what is given to them is they're given, in many cases, a top-notch education for free when an average stiff has to pay for it and earn it themselves. And what pisses
Wait, first of all, you're assuming they go to class.
They don't. That's my point. So why should they be paid? You know how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars schools spend on these athletes? And they don't even bother to go to class or get the grades, and then they have to dump them anyway. Or they get the bare minimum, 2 or 2.5 GPA average? I mean...
Okay, but the other side is a lot of these kids, and I'm serious, they're coming from underprivileged backgrounds, but they have a talent. That talent has got them at least to university, college. Not all of them are going to go to the pros. And even if only 50% of them make use of the education, it's good that they got it. But the other 50% that have sacrificed, or the rest, they all sacrificed their bodies. Catastrophic injuries can happen in football in a split second. It doesn't matter if you're playing pro, college, or touch football. Anything can happen. They're putting their bodies on the line for the university, and the university's making a lot of money off of this.
It's personal choice. Nobody told them they had to play football. You know what?
Yes. Without this talent, they wouldn't have had a chance to go to college.
And they would, and most of them don't utilize that chance. And what would they be without even getting a college scholarship? Where would they be back home?
Well, that's the problem. We don't know where they'd be.
They'd be working at McDonald's or Taco Bell. And I don't mean to undermine working at McDonald's or Taco Bell, but that's where they would be without an education because they wouldn't get a job. And their talents would go nowhere. Okay.
Well, didn't you get fired from McDonald's or was it Taco Bell? I can't remember which one you got fired from.
I didn't get fired from either. But what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that we're skewed, and it's something that's happened more in the last 10 or 15, 20 years, because college athletes used to love the fact that they get a scholarship and utilize that experience and that chance to their benefit. And now we've got this me. I have no sympathy for that. You know, you're talented. God gave you that talent. Great for you. You get a scholarship. You know what? Take that and use it to your advantage. So you know what? When you don't make the NFL, because you're not going to make the NFL, you're not going to make the NHL, or you're not going to make the NBA, at least you have a college degree to fall back on. And even another thing besides, what do they get? If they're smart enough and they get that college degree, all right, and I've talked to people that played baseball in Division II, okay, not Division I, who got the scholarship. What it meant for them in marketing careers, what it meant for them to endorse people's products and go out and sell, they made a killing because of their involvement in athletics and their college degree. So that's what I'm saying. They didn't have to be paid. They have very lucrative careers. Many college athletes we don't even know about have utilized that experience to their advantage.
Okay, but I think you're getting off topic here. You're talking about I'm talking about football. Football is the main source of income for most of these college programs, is it not? I guess that and basketball.
Not necessarily. It depends. It depends on the university. If you go to Kansas University, it's basketball.
That's what I'm saying. Football and basketball.
Right? And if you look at the University of Minnesota, football's big, but I would say hockey's pretty huge here too. So I mean, it varies, and I think it's regional. What the sport is. Yeah, guaranteed football and baseball, they're the two big American sports, but I think sometimes you see other sports that are big too and bring in big money and big sponsorship as well. You know, but you know what? One thing I'd say, I'm not for paying them as far as like a salary or paying them big money. What I would say they need, this is what needs to change. Okay? Because I do think there needs to be changes in the scholarship program and how the NCAA treats athletes. And I wouldn't be against a stipend of some sort. Okay? I don't think you pay them $100,000 a year or $20,000 a year, but what I think they need to be able to do is, beyond the scholarship, get a stipend so that they're not so worried about going out and spending money and it coming back that they're spending money like a professional athlete, or people having to give them money to get certain items or certain things. Even taking a person out to lunch, I think, could be a violation if it's like one of the school's donors. That to me goes a little too far. Give them a stipend, okay, or something. You're recognizing their accomplishments, relaxing the regulations just a little bit to make it fair. And you're not having a paid athlete who's in college, because I don't think you should have a paid athlete in college. So maybe it's semantics, but I don't think you pay them for game day. I don't think they get a share in the profits. Okay? Their chance to get a share in the profits is when they become a pro, if they do.
As I like to say, you're wrong and I'm right, or however I used to say it. I can't remember now. It's been so long since we've had to argue or something. You probably have made my point. Maybe a stipend, not a salary, is the way to go. But I will say that you're going to run into problems with a stipend, because how do you determine who gets what and how much that stipend should be?
Okay, that exactly, because now you're making my point. I'm right and you're wrong. That's basically how you said it, by the way. This is how you do it. Every athlete, okay, every athlete who gets a scholarship to play whatever sport gets the same stipend. And why do I say that? Because you don't want to pay for performance for a college athlete, an amateur. So everybody gets the same. It makes it fair across the board, so they don't say that the Peyton Manning, who is at Tennessee, gets 3 times the stipend that I get. So in effect, he's really like a paid athlete. And I'm against a paid athlete. So I say you give every athlete the same and make it fair, so they can pay. The one thing I'll say is, while it's okay to get a job for most students at college, one thing I will say about the athlete that is at college is not only are they going out and spending a significant part of their time for their designated sport and having to go to class and having to study and getting decent enough grades, but then they would have to go and get a part-time job at Taco Bell or McDonald's on campus or off campus. I don't see where they have the time. And that's
right, which other students can do, because they're not focused on making their school hundreds of millions of dollars in a bowl.
I would say there you give them a stipend enough that they wouldn't have to go and get that part-time job just to be able to make ends meet. And
here's the problem, where maybe I got to go back to, there has to be some form of, and I know the NHL loves this, profit sharing. Yes, the student athletes are getting scholarships, and I guess that's how, each player's scholarship is probably worth different amounts, but they're getting the scholarship. But that's not enough, because these guys are being shown on national TV.
Who cares?
ESPN's website is littered with college football stuff today.
Big deal. It
says, thank God it's Saturday.
You know what I say? Don't go and play college sports then. Stay at home. don't take the scholarship and just go to college and don't worry about playing the sport. But once you've agreed to play the sport, don't come back crying to me. And I don't want to stray out too much off topic, but you mentioned this NHL revenue sharing, which is the biggest bogus garbage in the world. All right, who are the owners? Who assume the risk? And the NHL players want to take 50% or more, 57%. That's what business allows the employee to take more, and they don't assume the risk. All they do is take off the top the revenue. I would say assume risk, right? If your university is at a loss, then you have to pay into that loss. Okay, will they be willing to do that? No.
Well, universities are not, or colleges are not losing money on their football programs.
But I'm saying we're talking about all sports here, not just football. We're talking about all sports.
I'm focused on football today because...
You know what I say? They don't? Then I say, let's start revenue sharing today, and we'll use Penn State as our poster program. And any athlete that's left at Penn State has to pay a share of that $60 million because they took a scholarship and they want to share in their revenue. How about that?
Well, you got me on that one because you're right. Those students would be out a lot of money.
Right. There you go. I said, let's start with them. Let's see how it gets them and see if
those incidents are few and far between. And
what happened to USC where they couldn't partake in a bowl game? I don't know how many years it was. They're all down.
But it all goes back to the idea that college football is something that should be pure and that people shouldn't be paying and they shouldn't cover things up. And you know what? If these guys were paid, there'd be more disclosure. Reggie Bush wouldn't have lost his Heisman Trophy and the title for USC. If he could have got a car because of how he played.
This is where I disagree with you.
Someone gave him a car, great.
You know what? You pay them, you're going to open up, there's more chance to cheating. And thank you for making another point of mine.
More chance for cheating.
Okay. Why? Because if you pay them, now there's expectation that they perform. And if you look at the NFL, if you look at hockey, and you look at the big one now, Major League Baseball, is getting multi-million-dollar contracts preventing people from taking performance-enhancing drugs? No way.
I'm not talking about
what you're going to do. What you're going to do is you're going to pay them, and now there's going to be more chance to take drugs or to cheat or to do things that you're not supposed to because now you're getting paid and now it's paid for performance. All right?
But they're getting paid under the table anyways. Let's expose it. Let's give them something, and this is where let's cap it, and this is what you get.
No, I say give them a stipend for spending so they don't have to get a part-time job. It's minimal amount that they would need to do. It's very little. Not enough to induce them to cheat in my mind. It's fair. That would be fair. But as far as either giving them a share of the profits or giving them big money to go to college, you know going to college is a privilege. Do you know that? Take away these.
Wait, you just got a flag. I just threw a flag on this one.
Wait, but take away. You know what you can do with that flag? Where you can stick it. You may lose my point with that silliness. But here's the deal. How many people in America go to college? What percentage? Oh no, I shouldn't say go to college. Get a college degree. What percentage?
I don't know. I'll say 30.
Okay, it's a little high. It's 1 out of every 4. 25%.
Well, that's almost right.
Get a college degree, right? And what I'm saying is, the vast majority of those people have to take loans, have to work hard for it, right?
Because they're not making the university millions of dollars.
What I'm saying is it's a privilege to go to university.
Not when that university recruits you and says, come here, buddy, you're going to be a star. No, I disagree.
These stars that are the recruitable players are playing the game too, okay? Right? So have you ever watched Friday Night Lights?
That's about high school football.
Right, that's where it starts, buddy. That's where it starts. That's where you're under the lights and then you hope the recruits come and then which university you go to, or I'll commit to one, but no, I didn't really commit to one. Give me a break. These guys are awful. They're playing the system. All right? And I have no sympathy for them. I really don't. It's like you go to play, go to school, get a degree, and then come crying to me after the fact.
I don't think I've never heard a college football player say they should get paid. Actually, I've never heard them say cry about the fact that they're getting an education for free. But I have seen enough college football players be enticed by by boosters who will give them cars or money under the table, and there's a reason behind it. There's always going to be someone who wants to cheat the system, whether it's pro, college, or whatever.
If you pay them or not, they'll do it.
I
don't think that.
I don't know that this is necessarily about the student. I think it's about what the college is getting by not paying them. This is more about the college getting more than they should. And
I think that the college gets way more of a mess if they pay them. All right? I think they get the mess now that the player has the money. So what does the player do with the money? What is their attitude? Okay? I worry about that. Because now we're talking about kids who are 4 years younger than when they're a pro, or 2 years younger. And we know how immature they are then. Second of all...
So put it in a trust for them. Set up a trust fund.
But then they'll be taking money from the boosters. Says, I can give you the car right now, Betty.
If it's put in a trust, okay?
Yeah, put it in a trust.
They have a trustee who says, okay, and they have to go to this trustee and say, I need this amount. Then it's monitored. And that's my point.
Okay. Well, I say it's just not going to work. These kids are so selfish. Then they're going to say that's not fair. You gave me the money and let me do what. This is freedom. This is not freedom. This is you're trying to control my life. All I say is my last point. It won't work. It can't work, and it shouldn't work. And that's all I have to say. You can play all your music you want to do to try and cloud my thoughts, and try and sway me the other way. I say no. Don't pay these athletes. They're getting paid through the scholarship and hopefully the great degree that they will come out with.
They're not getting paid through their scholarship. You know that and I know that. They're getting their university paid for, but what they're giving back to the university is far greater during that 4 years than what they're getting.
I disagree. I think it's a privilege to go to school. It's a privilege to go to school for free.
Well, it's a privilege for you to argue with me. Do I get paid to argue with you? No.
Maybe you should.
Well, it's nice to see that we're not on the same page about something, because with all the Winnipeg Blue Bomber talk, we were getting a little too agreeable with each other.
You know what? Now I have to go and take my Rolaids.
Well, and I got to go watch my college football for the rest of the day.
Well, enjoy it, and enjoy the Bomber game tomorrow.
Well, yeah, let's not talk about that one right now. I have my concerns, so...
Well, I don't know what beer they drink in Winnipeg, but I hope I hope Burke likes the beer and it makes him a tough man rather than the beer I guess that they drink in Saskatchewan.
Good old Tim Burke.
Yeah. With that said, we'll speak soon, and you go and watch those college games and get back to me. All right?
You got it.
All right. Take care.